Hello there, this is the 6th edition on New Central TV, coming to you live from our studios in Abuja. I'm Neota Egbe, and here are our headlines. Aliko Dangote submits petition accusing NMDPRA boss Ahmed Farouk of corruption and financial impropriety to ICPC. NBA threatens contempt action against IGP Egbetokun and force PRO over tainted glass permit plan. And Trump files a $10 billion lawsuit against BBC over January 6 documentary editing controversy. Details in a moment. The chairman of the Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, has submitted a petition against the managing director of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NNDPRA, Ahmed Farouk, to the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, accusing him of corruption and financial impropriety. In the petition submitted on December 16 through his lawyer Ogu Onoja, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Dangote demanded the arrest, investigation, and prosecution of Ahmed for allegedly living above his means as a public servant. According to the petition received by the office of the chairman of the ICPC, Musa Aliyu, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, the Dangote Group chairman specifically accused the NMDPRA boss of spending without evidence of lawful means of income amounting to over $7 million for the education of his 4 children in different schools in Switzerland for a period of 6 years up front. In the petition, Dangote listed the children and their schools in Switzerland, including the amount paid for each of them, to establish his allegations and verification by the anti-graft agency.
We are here to submit a petition, a formal petition against, on behalf of our clients, Dangote Refineries and Petrochemicals, against Engineer Farouk Ahmed, the CEO of Downstream Midstream Petroleum Regulatory Agency, the Midstream Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Agency, over his excesses that we believe was he's benefiting unduly from the public office he holds against Section 19 of the ICPC Act. And in the circumstance, we have no choice than to formally present a petition against him. We have evidence. The petition has already been submitted and acknowledged by the ICPC. You can see it from here. Now, we attach evidence of monies that are being expended as school fees for his children in excess of $7 million.
Meanwhile, in a bid to resolve this impasse, the House of Representatives Joint Committee on Petroleum Resources, Downstream and Midstream has summoned the president of the Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, alongside the leadership of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority to appear before them and explain the allegations and counter-allegations fueling their dispute. This follows fresh allegations and counter-allegations between the Dangote Refinery and the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority.
These issues, for as long as the committee is concerned, is coming at a time where the committee is guiding jealously the stability that we have achieved in the downstream petroleum sector. So the committees met today and agreed to intervene in the matter once again towards finding sustainable solutions. And we can only find sustainable solutions when we identify the critical issues that is leading to this tension that has returned. And that is why the committee resolved to write communication to Alhaji Aliko Dangote and also the NNDPR authority chief to meet with the committee to be able to give us details and insights into what are the underlying issues that is leading to these allegations and counter-allegations. And the committee also resolved this afternoon to plead with the contending parties in the dispute to cease fire, especially media comments, so that we don't escalate.
And the Nigeria police will resume enforcement of the tainted glass permit policy on January 2nd, 2026. Force spokesperson Benjamin Hundeyin said the move follows rising vehicle-related crimes and a review of current security threats. He clarified that no court order stops the enforcement, but police had paused it voluntarily after an October court case considering public interest and concerns raised by the Nigerian Bar Association. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Bar Association has warned that it may file contempt charges against the Inspector General of Police, Kerde Gbetokun, and the Force Public Relations Officer, Benjamin Hundeyin, over plans to resume enforcement of the tinted glass permit policy. The NBA President Afam Osigwe said legal action will follow if the police proceed, as the policy is still being challenged in court. He noted that the Federal High Court had ordered all parties to maintain status quo and halt enforcement pending a ruling. The NBA also raised concerns about past abuses tied to the policy, including harassment and extortion, especially of young Nigerians. And the former Chief Justice of Nigeria, Ibrahim Mohammed, has died at the age of 71 in a hospital in Saudi Arabia, where he had been receiving medical treatment. His death was confirmed by the Nigerian Association of Muslim Law Students in an official condolence statement issued from Abuja. The association described his passing as a major loss to the Nigerian judiciary, the legal profession, the Muslim community, and the nation. Now, it's also extended condolences to his family, the judiciary, the federal government, the people of Nigeria, and the wider Muslim community at large. The late Mohammed served as Chief Justice of Nigeria from 2019 until his retirement in 2022, stepping down owing to health conditions. And in security matters, President Bola Tinubu has held a closed-door meeting with service chiefs at the Aso Rock Villa in Abuja. The meeting held on Monday marked the president's first with the military high command since swearing in retired General Christopher Musa as Defense Minister on December the 4th. Though the agenda wasn't disclosed, it comes amid serious security concerns like the ongoing captivity of 115 kidnapped students and Senate approval for troop deployment to Benin Republic after an attempted coup, amongst others. In the meantime, the president has reaffirmed his government's strong support for the welfare, professionalism, and operational effectiveness of the Nigerian Army. He reiterated this at the Chief of Army Staff Annual Conference in Lagos. There's more on this report.
At the opening of the 2025 COAS Annual Conference in Lagos, President Tinubu, represented by the Vice President Kashim Shettima, reiterated his commitment to prioritizing the welfare and operational readiness of the Nigerian Army. He emphasized that the presence of both current and former service chiefs highlights the Army's professionalism and heritage. The president also described the conference as a vital platform for reflecting on and improving training, administration, and operations, particularly in addressing evolving security challenges.
There is no nation that can achieve greatness without security. This is the reason it stands as one of the 8 priority areas of our renewed hope agenda. This government remains resolute in mobilizing all military and law enforcement assets to eliminate security threats and to protect the lives and property of all Nigerians. The Nigerian Army has always risen to the challenge of the nation, and this administration will continue to provide full support to ensure that you fulfill your constitutional mandate of safeguarding our territorial integrity.
Minister of Defense, retired General Christopher Musa, echoed the need for joint operations and inter-agency collaboration to address the nation's complex security landscape.
In today's security environment, our success can only be sustained through a unity of effort. Suffice to remark that the jointness and inter-service cooperations are no longer operational, but fundamental requirements for effective national defense. The armed forces must continue to operate as an integrated force supported by strong intelligence sharing, coordinated planning, and close collaboration with other security agencies.
Equally important to us is the growing emphasis of joint training, multi-agency cooperation, and collaborative operational planning.
The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Waidi Shaibu, expressed gratitude for the government's support, particularly in welfare, equipment modernization, training reforms, and pledged the Army's commitment to combating security threats.
Within our borders, terrorism in the northeast is largely contained, our deployments for the ongoing dry season operations to reinforce efforts against terrorist groups in the Northeast continue to yield positive results. These sustained operations have disrupted terrorist activities, denied them the freedom of action, and further degrade their capabilities.
Service chiefs, governors, top government functionaries, and other dignitaries also attended the event, which is expected to shape the Army's strategic and operational direction in the coming year. In Lagos for News Central, Igbalani Omani.
To legal matters, the lawmakers in Nigeria have been tasked to ensure that special seats for women bill is passed to ensure women inclusion and representation in government. This was as stakeholders in Abuja expressed worry over the lack of representation of women in government, saying that Nigeria has the lowest number of women in politics, a situation that has become a dent in the nation's democratic process. They urged the National Assembly to fulfill the yearnings of millions of Nigerian women and ensure that the bill is passed as part of the ongoing constitutional review process in the country.
In the current 10th Assembly, only 4 out of 109 senators are women. That is giving us 2.7%. In the House of Representatives, only 17 out of 360 members are women, roughly 4.7%. Altogether, women make up only about 4.2 out of 469 members National Assembly.
If it is not passed, it would define the qualification of this National Assembly. I think that Nigerians will decide that the 10th National Assembly is a failure if the special seats bill does not pass. So my hope, my expectation, and the demand that we all have as Nigerians who have a National Assembly is that National Assembly will respond to our demand, citizens' demand, that women be given the representation and presence in.
Now being joined by Kelvin Agagbe, Benue State Coordinator of the Youth Electoral Reform Project in Nigeria. Thank you for joining us, Kelvin.
Thank you for having me.
Why do you think it's difficult, or it's been difficult for women to break through what some will consider the political ceiling or the governance ceiling?
Yeah, so thank you for that question, first of all. I think it's been very difficult for women because, first of all, politics in our country is highly monetized, and there's a level at which they could commit their resources to fighting for political position as against their counterparts men. And also electoral violence is one of those things that also scare women away from, challenging polls as it were. So some of this myriad of challenges are some of the reasons that women kind of like find it difficult, to break through the ceiling of leadership in our country.
Okay, so you work with the youth in the Electoral Reform Project, so to speak. Do you think there's anything that you and your group can do to make any difference, to push for the passage of this bill?
Yeah, so we have been doing that. So I'll talk a bit about what we've done so far. The special seat bill is just one of our reforms that are currently with the National Assembly and that we're going to be voting for. So across the 6 geopolitical zones of this country, we have members across the 36 states plus FCT, and we have taken time to advocate for these reforms. We had about 10 of them, but 4 made it to the Electoral Committee and to the House of Representatives and the Senate, as it were. So we have a situation where we're able to meet legislators at some point time in the program implementation phase. What we're doing was to advocate to lawmakers personally, and after we did that, we're also able to across the 19 public hearings, the zonal public hearings and the national public hearing, we're also there to air our concerns on some of these reforms, and I'm very happy that we're able to have about 4 of them, and the special seats also being one of those very important bills.
Okay, but you do know that there are those who believe that the biggest challenge to the women getting into the political space or the governance space is women themselves, because they are not supporting themselves. Do you think that's also a problem? And how is that? Is that something that you're
I think the big trying to addresses that as it well. So we're proposing a situation where there are additional seats for women so that women can contest. So it's going to be a women affair, as it were. So we believe that regardless of if they're not supporting themselves, that's not the contention at the moment. The contention at the moment is that give women seats
so
that
make
they
the
have
seat available
for
whether
women.
they take it or not. Is
whoever gets it is a woman, so that makes a lot of sense.
So the concern is not whether women are supporting women.
Yeah.
Let there be a law that ensures that. So what if at the end of the day, let's just say 109 seats in the Senate, and the law says 40 should be kept for women? Okay, let's just say the law says. I'm not saying that's what it is.
Okay, but let me give the perspective of the law.
Okay.
So the law says create 37 additional seats for women in the Senate, 37 in the House of Representatives. So the 109, the 360, the 320 is already there. So we're not touching those seats. All right. So women can as well.
The law is asking for additional senatorial zones, so to speak.
Well, women constituency seats, because there's also a debate around, is this going to be a constituency? Is it going to be zones, as it were? So, but we're saying these are women zones. And the law is also saying there's going to be a time frame for us to review. But the goal is, let's get 187 women into the National Assembly.
So if, now the question I was going to ask is, if that 37 extra seats are provided by the law, and the women don't occupy them, what happens?
So women have to occupy them.
If they don't occupy them,
how would they not occupy them? Because the seat is meant for them, and it's going to be prescribed for them and only meant for them to contest. So a man won't be contesting for a special seat for women.
All right, let's hope that this works out very well for you and your team and the entire nation of women as a whole.
We hope so, and we're not relenting. So we're engaging with the National Assembly as we speak. All our groups across the country are ensuring that they're messaging their legislators, and also even because it's a constitutional amendment process, we're also talking to the legislators at the state level to ensure that by the time it's cascaded down to them, they also vote in the position of young people. All
right, thank you very much. Kelvin Agagbe is the Benue State Coordinator of the Youth Electoral Reform Project in Nigeria.
Thank you
for coming.
Thank you.
And we'll take a moment. When we'll come back, we'll be looking at other stories. Do stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, here's a recap of the top stories on the 6th edition. Aliko Dangote submits petition to ICPC against NMDPRA boss Ahmed Farouk, accusing him of corruption and financial impropriety. NBA threatens contempt charges against IGP Egbetokun and force PRO over planned tinted glass permit enforcement. Trump files a $10 billion lawsuit against BBC over the January 6 documentary editing controversy. Now, staying with the legislature, the National Assembly or the Senate has received and adopted the report of the Committee on Foreign Affairs recommending the confirmation of 3 nominees for appointment as non-career ambassadors. The report was presented during plenary on Tuesday by the committee's chairman, Sani Bello, who represents Niger North in the Senate. The nominees listed in the report are Lateef Kayode Are from Ogun State, Aminu Mohammed Dalhatu from Jigawa State, and Emmanuel Ayodele Oke from Oyo State. According to the committee's assessment, all 3 nominees underwent a comprehensive screening process. The committee noted that the candidates met the required qualifications and demonstrated the competence expected of individuals assigned to represent Nigeria abroad. Following the presentation, the Senate adopted the report, clearing the way for the nominees' confirmation as non-career ambassadors. In the meantime, the House of Representatives has summoned officials of the Federal Ministry of Works, comprising the Minister, David Umahi, the Permanent Secretary, Kofamata Yakubu, and the Director of Human Resources Management, Aliyu Abdullahi, to appear before its Committee on Public Petitions on Wednesday, January 21st, 2026, over the victimization of an alleged whistleblower, Martin Atuegbe, for exposing employment racketeering in the ministry. A document cited by News Central Television with petition number 626 orders on complaint of fraud, abuse of power, breach of due process, conspiracy and attempt to cover up allegations, threat to life and job of the petitioner, including false allegations, criminal defamation, and undue victimization. The counsel to the petitioner also called for the resignation of the minister, the chairman of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, the chairman of the Federal Civil Service Commission, and the head of the Civil Service of the Federation for failing to act to stop corruption in the ministry and protect Atuegbe from victimization.
The ministry falsely claimed our client was transferred due to misconduct, and his official posting letter proved he was redeployed specifically for his persistence in demanding accountability. We are calling on the resignation of the Honorable Minister of Works, Senator David Nwanze-Umahi, the chairman, ICPC. We are also calling for the resignation of the chairman, Federal Civil Service Commission, Professor Tunji Olaopa, and head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Mrs. Didi Esther Wolsin-Jack, for aiding institutional corruption and by not investigating our petition.
I'm now being joined in the studio by Martins Tigri, the alleged victimized staff, Federal Ministry of Works. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, sir.
The news is that you've not been paid for about a year, and it's the allegations that you're being victimized. What exactly did you expose that's bringing this on you?
Well, actually, there's been monumental administrative malfeasance and corrupt practices in the ministry. It started actually under former Minister Raji Fashola. So as at then, newly recruited staffs with fake letters of appointment were coming to the ministry, and we were documenting them. As at when I raised the alarm, I personally had documented 302 of them because I was the schedule officer then. So they were being documented and put on payroll within a month, which was an anomaly. So I raised that issue up to my superiors, and that was the beginning of the ordeal and challenges I began to have in the ministry. I later got to understand that my former director, Murayo Alimi, was the head of the cabal, you know. So when I put up that petition, the Honorable Minister then said, set up a committee to investigate my claims, which was headed by Mrs. Murayo herself. And in all fairness, she was part of the cabal. She ought not to have been a part of the committee because I asked her to recuse herself, but they felt they could just do whatever they felt they could do. They did and came up with a report, and instead of looking at the core facts of the thing, they turned against me, claiming I was the one that was corrupt. I was the one that was sexually harassing my colleagues, corps members, and things like that. So even in their reports, because they are speaking from both sides of their mouth, the report from the ministry, they indicted some people like John Omini, Richard Dokotri, for administrative malfeasance, for not following due process, Mr. Mukhtar, but they also recommended disciplinary actions. But as I can authoritatively tell you, till today, nothing has been done to those people. They gave them a pat on the back, and I was victimized. I was transferred to Gwagwalada. You know, my name was tarnished, my reputation tarnished. Okay, I've been denied promotions for 3 years consecutively now.
Okay, so in all of this, we know that there's within the civil service, there's a mechanism to protect the staff that does that reveal, how do you say it now, that exposes malfeasance or corruption within the ministry or within the civil service. Is there not something like that?
Yes.
So is it that mechanism has been put aside?
Of course, they shelved it aside because we've written petitions to the head of service, the ICPC, and nothing has been done. Even this year, because this year we wrote to the new ICPC chairman, and the investigating officer told us that information from above, that they were asked to set aside the petition, that the chairman asked them to put the petition aside and not to investigate it, because going further with the investigation was going to affect the careers of some of the directors who are still in service, and majority of them that have retired, because they are all part of this systemic corruption. You know, I know their names, I know the roles they played. Even some of the people that came in with fake letters of appointment that are still on the ministry's payroll, they are still working. But why am I being victimized? Why has the ICPC, the head of service, and other relevant bodies refused to investigate?
So now that the House of Representatives has summoned the minister, and the leadership of the civil service, as it concerns this matter, what do you expect to come out of it?
Well, so far they have refused to turn up. all 6 times that we have appeared, neither the minister nor the permanent secretaries have appeared, nor the director of human resources have appeared. On 2 occasions, they sent the director legal, one barrister, Ozemela, to come and represent, and he just came there and was speaking jargons because he is not abreast of what is happening. He is now blaming the Federal Civil Service Commission because according to him, they have done their investigations, they've come out with a report. They had a senior staff committee meeting where they were recommended that I should be dismissed from service, and they forwarded it to the Civil Service Commission to implement. That was since 2023. Now, by the public service rules, disciplinary actions has a time frame, and this is more than 2 years. Why has the Federal Civil Service Commission not taken any action on it? Because the ministry did not actually forward the letters they claimed to the Civil Service Commission because they knew I was willing and ready to fight back. They thought I would just sit down because they keep telling me I should go and beg. And I keep telling myself, why should I go and beg for doing the right thing? And I told them I could never be at the mercy of any mortal man. I refused to go and beg. On several occasions, I was told to go and meet the director, even before when they were sitting for because my mates are currently sitting for the promotion exams. They said I should go and meet the director of human resources, Alhaji Aliyu Abdullahi, who just retired. And I went, I met him. I have an audio recording of my conversation with him, but I told him that whatever he has done, he's going to meet it. Even if he doesn't meet it in the service, he will meet it in the future. Because you came, I've written several letters of appeal, even to the minister. That's why I'm calling for the resignation of the minister. We've written several letters of appeal for him to reinvestigate this issue. But he has naturally refused to do so. So if there's why are they doing so? Because revisiting it is going to bring out the truth of everything I'm saying. I can't just come to the media and say what I don't have evidence to back it up.
All right, Martins at Tigri, we wish you well, and we do hope that your call, your cries will be heard, and justice will be done.
Thank you.
Well, but I'd just like to say here that News Central is open for there's a right of reply to any of the members of the civil service, the leadership, the minister, and any of the leadership of the members of the leadership of the civil service that wants to reply or respond to this. News Central is open and ready to hear your voice and let the world hear your own response to this. Thank you so much, Martins, and we hope that things work out well for you. Moving on to health matters now. Sickle cell survivors in Abuja are calling for an end to stigma and discrimination, pushing for a more inclusive and supportive environment. At an awareness event, they stressed that sickle cell is not a death sentence. With proper care, patients can live healthy, fulfilling lives. They urged the public to donate blood regularly to support patients during crisis and called for better health care and increased awareness to strengthen support for those living with the condition.
We aim to save lives immediately through voluntary blood donation, while also advancing conversations around science, policy, media, responsibility, and lived realities of individuals and families affected by sickle cell disease.
Sickle cell comes with different challenges. As I mentioned earlier, mine has been in the bones. You find some people who are having organ damage. Find some people who always get transfused every month. So it's like a normal body system. Some people have malaria. Some people don't have malaria. Some people don't have malaria often. Some people have headaches. Some people have this or that. Even the crisis comes in different stages. Please make informed decision before bringing in children that have sickle cell. And then for those who are living with it, please know that it's not a death sentence. And to parents and caregivers, you don't know what you have given birth to. The child can become anything. We have seen parents abandoning their children all over the place. And
we decide to implement early diagnosis, it will help in reducing some of these complications. Because the moment an individual is identified as having sickle cell anemia, then that person should be properly managed as that. Hydroxyurea must be affordable. Then there should be a comprehensive sickle cell care. As we speak now, there's really no comprehensive sickle cell care. You realize we have a lot of sickle cell patients that cannot even afford transport fee to the hospital.
I'm now being joined by Rabi Maidunama, founder, Maidunama Foundation. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Some have described you as a sickle cell warrior.
Yeah.
So, but how has stigma affected you and those living with sickle cell beyond the medical challenges?
Well, from birth, there's this tag. People know that you have sickle cell. It becomes like a tag on, like, you're going to leave this world anytime, and you're just going to be full of problems throughout your lifetime and all that. For me personally, my family didn't give the chance for stigma or discrimination to affect me, because they accepted me and they loved me as a child, and they told everyone around that this is her condition and we want you to be very, empathetic and sympathetic with her.
I've come across people who've had this condition and they've done well. I mean, they've excelled. They've, some will say, they've triumphed over the health challenge. But what kind of care? Yes, you said your family, for your family, they stood by you, gave you all the support. So what kind of care do you think others can get? I mean, society can give to others, so that stigma is
it starts with the family. Some family actually even abandon their children and all that. So if you don't have that love from beginning, it becomes a problem for other people to also accept you. So others outside the society has been with the stigma. It has been terrible accepting children like that or adults living with sickle cell. When it comes to your workspace, your relationship and all that, it's been really terrible. Everybody does not want to associate with, they attach it to a death sentence and lots of other challenges, like not being able to afford the medical
Is it a question of ignorance? Because some people feel as if it's when they shake the hands of someone living with this condition, it gets transmitted.
Exactly. So we don't want sickle cell. We don't like calling it a disease. Call it like a disorder, because when you say something is a disease, makes it look, even though doctors don't agree with that, makes it look like something that is contagious.
Yeah.
So sickle cell is a genetic disorder. So don't catch it by associating yourself with people like that. I mean, there are other health conditions like cancer, diabetes, and it's all about management. So why are you tagging? Would you laugh at somebody with cancer? I don't think so.
No.
So why sickle cell?
Yeah.
Yes. So.
Okay. There's this strong call for blood donation. Yes. I know that donating blood even helps those who are donating, but it also helps those who are in need, especially those living with this condition and are having to deal with this challenge. So, what can every Nigerian do to render more support in this area?
Yes, aside blood, aside the blood donation that you can just donate willingly, you have to we need empathy, actually, not even sympathy. We need empathy. Wherever you find a sickle cell warrior around your space, just try to show a little bit of support and help wherever you can. A smile will go a long way, as they always say. And then if there's any form of other support, take the person's shift when you're at work with that person. Person needs help in shift or whatever it is, try and help the person. In the school environment, if the warrior misses exams and all that, try and play a role in ensuring that person gets a receipt of that exam, and lots of other things If monetary, you can help with support.
Whichever way you can help.
Whichever way you can.
Just support. Thank you so much. Rabi Maidunama, founder, Maidunama Foundation. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you so much.
You well.
Thanks for having us.
Continue warring and stay strong. Well done.
Thank you.
All right, to security. Heavy security has been deployed to Kanou's Cotonou area after mob violence erupted over the alleged killing of an Islamic cleric. Earlier, angry youth burned down the suspect's family house. Despite police intervention, several individuals have been arrested. News Central's Emmanuel Bagudu has more on this story.
This is what is left of the family home of Abubakar, the alleged killer of a respected muezzin, Muhammad. On the other side is a mourning scene, home of the late cleric, whose call for prayers has been described as an inspiration to many who turn up for their spiritual obligations. He was the best muezzin in this area. Whenever he called for prayers, everyone, including those in the neighboring communities, respond immediately. He was dedicated to his duty. Family of the deceased victim narrate how he lost his life from the alleged daredevil killer. What happened here is that my brother is a muezzin in this mosque. That is, the man responsible for calling for prayers. This morning, he called for the prayers for the first time. And then, all of a sudden, the attacker entered the mosque. That time, no one was around. That will be around 5 a.m. The attacker started stabbing him. And then cut out his throat. We suspected he is a ritual killer because he removed the throat and put it in a leather and then put it inside his pocket. We later recovered the throat when he was lynched. My father was a disciplinarian. He's the reason we are all successful today. He's a great father that always stands up for truth and justice. The situation has since left the youth provoked, as many of them say that they have resolved to attack the entire family of the alleged killer. The police, who have since arrived at the crime scene, say investigations are currently ongoing. They, however, say that they will mend their presence in the community for the next few days until the tension is doused down. In Kano for News Central, Emmanuel Bagudu.
And on to party politics, Taraba State Governor Abu Kefas has officially joined the All Progressives Congress APC, ending weeks of speculations. He picked up his APC membership card at a brief event attended by party leaders and supporters. Governor Kefas said the move was aimed at aligning Taraba with the federal government to boost development and improve governance. He pledged to work with APC leaders to promote unity, peace, and inclusive growth in the state.
I've been set for our movement to APC on the 19th of November, but in solidarity with national issues, especially the abduction of school children in KB and other places, we decided to suspend it for the future. However, this is one of the processes that we need to embark on. Even if we have done the ceremony, we will still do this. While we await a new date for the ceremony, it is expedient and necessary that we do the registration, fully in the party, to be able to give us the full identity that we deserve so that we can take charge and put the party straight for leadership in the state.
In Borno State, 250 elderly residents in Maiduguri have received food items and cash support through the Renewed Hope initiative led by the First Lady Oluremi Tinubu. Themed Finding Joy in Old Age, the program aims to uplift senior citizens, improve their welfare, and honor their lifelong contributions to family and community. News Central's Umaru Kirawa reports.
For these women and men, many of whom have endured years of hardship, conflict, and economic strain, are today being remembered by the wife of the president, Oluremi Tinubu. The support, which has come at a critical time, is an intervention under the Renewed Hope initiative. 250 elderly citizens in Borno State are receiving essential food items alongside cash support, a gesture aimed at easing daily pressures and improving their overall well-being.
The elderly support scheme is a clear demonstration of Senator Oluremi Tinubu's belief that our senior citizens, including veterans, retired security personnel, and elderly citizens across the Federation, deserve care, respect, and recognition for their lifelong contributions to the growth and stability of our nation. Her Excellency's leadership has ensured that the Renewed Hope Initiative is not just a program, but a movement of empathy, inclusion, and national unity that cuts across states and communities.
Representing the wife of the president, the wife of the Borno State Governor, Dr. Falmata Zulum, says that the gesture reflects the federal government's commitment to inclusive governance, ensuring that senior citizens are not left behind in national development efforts.
The total sum to be disbursed is 1,900,000,000 naira, as approved by the governing board of the Renewed Hope Initiative. Each state of the Federation will receive the sum of 50 million naira, including the FCT and the POA.
From warm embraces to heartfelt prayers, the smiles on the faces of the beneficiaries speaks volumes, a powerful expression of gratitude, relief, and renewed hope for a better tomorrow.
They have put smiles, not on my face alone, from my heart. It's a very great gesture. And God will continue to bless Nigeria, bless Borno State, and defend the leadership. I am so grateful.
It might be a simple intervention, but for this elderly, it delivers relief, dignity, and the assurance that they matter. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
In Delta State, the governor has signed into law the state's appropriation bill of 1,729,881,000,000 naira for the 2026 fiscal year. This amount is 65,600,000,000 naira higher than the 1,664,000,000,000 naira budget the governor presented to the State House of Assembly about 2 weeks ago. The breakdown of the approved budget allocates 500 billion naira to recurrent expenditure, while 1,229,900,000,000 naira is set aside for capital expenditure.
Into law the appropriation bill of 2026, tagged budget of accelerating the moral agenda. The 2026 appropriation law sets to clear course for growth and sustainable development. It is not just a budget of figures, it is rather a budget of vision, action, and expected deliverables for the next 12 months. At 1,289,881,208,779 naira only. The 2026 estimate is over 70% increase of the 2025 budget, making it very ambitious but achievable. It is prioritized development with 70% of it allocated to capital expenditure and 30% to recurrent.
When 6th edition returns, South Africa reflects on its future and history with the Reconciliation Day. Details in a moment. Outside Nigeria, South Africa is reflecting on its history as the nation marks Reconciliation Day. The 16th December commemorates two significant moments in the country's past: the Battle of Blood River and the formation of the African National Congress's armed wing, Umunkoto Wesizwe, events that now form the foundation of a day dedicated to national unity and reconciliation. Meanwhile, President Cyril Ramaphosa is expected to address the national commemoration taking place in KwaZulu-Natal, where the main event is being held. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, M23 rebels say they've agreed to U.S. pressure and will withdraw from the strategic town of Uvira. The Rwanda-backed militia seized Uvira last week, derailing fresh U.S. brokered peace deals between Kinshasa and Kigali. Alliance Fleuve Congo leader Corneille Nangaa confirmed the pullout on X, calling it a unilateral trust-building measure to boost the Doha peace process. The coalition demands neutral forces to secure the town and monitor the ceasefire. Around 30 persons accused of links to a thwarted coup attempt in Benin Republic have been arrested. Most of those arrested are soldiers, and several mutineers are still on the run. Soldiers appeared on national television on December 7 to announce President Patrice Talon has been deposed, but the attempted overthrow was swiftly defeated by loyalist forces with the help of troops from Nigeria and French special forces. Several people were killed, and the alleged coup leader, Lieutenant-Colonel Pascal Tigri, and other mutinous soldiers remain on the run. At least 30 accused persons on Monday appeared before a special prosecutor for the Court of Economic Crimes and Terrorism in the city of Cotonou. U.S. President Donald Trump has launched a $10 billion lawsuit against the BBC, accusing the broadcaster of editing his words in a documentary about the January 6 Capitol riot. The legal action comes after weeks of turmoil inside the BBC over the disputed footage, which aired just before the 2024 U.S. election. Senior international correspondent Afia Hagan has the details.
We'll sue them for anywhere between...
Donald Trump filed the lawsuit in federal court in Miami, alleging the BBC defamed him and violated Florida's Deceptive and Unfair Trade Practices Act. The president claims the broadcaster put words in his mouth by editing sections of his January 6, 2021 speech in a way that suggested he encouraged supporters to attack the Capitol as lawmakers certified Joe Biden's victory. The documentary aired last year on the BBC's flagship programme Panorama, just days before the 2024 US presidential election. According to the lawsuit, the edit amounted to a fabricated version of events and was an attempt to influence the election to Trump's detriment. The controversy resurfaced last month after an internal memo acknowledging the error was leaked to a British newspaper. The fallout triggered a crisis inside the BBC, culminating in the resignations of both the Director General and the organisation's top news executive. While the BBC denies Trump's claims of legal defamation, its chairman, Samir Shah, has sent a letter of apology and told UK lawmakers the broadcaster should have addressed the issue sooner. Trump's legal team accuses the BBC of a long-running pattern of unfair coverage, while this case adds to a growing list of actions Trump has taken against media outlets, several of which have resulted in multi-million-dollar settlements. The BBC says it will defend its position, while Trump is promising more legal battles ahead. The case now moves to the federal courts. For News Central, I'm Afia Hagan.
And supporters of Honduras' ruling Liberty and Foundation Party blocked roads and burned tires in the capital, Tegucigalpa, protesting alleged vote tampering in the last month's presidential election. The unrest comes as electoral authorities have yet to certify the result, prolonging political uncertainty and heightening tensions across the country. Preliminary counts show Nasri Asfura, a 67-year-old right-wing businessman backed by U.S. President Donald Trump, holding a razor-thin lead. Opposition groups and civil society organizations have questioned the vote's credibility and called for a transparent review of the results. The delay in confirming the outcome has fueled frustration among citizens and raised fears of a potential political crisis in Honduras.
Está el pueblo pronunciándose. No es justo que vaya a quedar alguien que no ha sido elegido por el pueblo. Nosotros lo que queremos es transparencia, lo que queremos es voto por voto. Eso es lo que se pide.
También a elegir y a ser electo. No podemos permitir que vengan a colonizar Honduras. Ya sabemos todo el plan que hay, todo lo que han firmado. Nasri Asfura, que no ha ganado las elecciones, que es una imposición barata del gobierno yanqui, de este gobierno corrupto.
The Central Bank of Nigeria has revoked the operational licenses of ASO Savings and Loans PLC and the Union Home Savings and Loans PLC for violating banking regulations. The institutions failed to meet minimum paid-up share capital requirements, had insufficient assets, and were critically undercapitalized. The CBN aims to maintain a safe banking sector, protect customers' deposits, and ensure only sound institutions operate. The Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation has begun paying insured deposits to affected customers. The move strengthens the mortgage subsector and enforces compliance with banking regulations, ensuring a reliable banking environment. The House of Representatives Public Accounts Committee has summoned Ibadan, Benin, and Port Harcourt electricity distribution companies to explain their failure to remit over 100 billion naira owed to the federal government. A 72-hour ultimatum was issued with sanctions threatened for non-compliance. The move is part of a broader investigation into a 2.6 trillion naira debt situation owed by 11 electricity distribution companies, with some liabilities outstanding for over a decade. The committee aims to address the long-standing issue and ensure accountability. Oil prices slipped below a $60 a barrel mark on Tuesday, creating fresh headwinds for oil exporting countries such as Nigeria, where crude sales underpin a large share of the government's revenue and foreign exchange inflows. Prices are now at their lowest level since May, as optimism grows over a possible Russia-Ukraine peace deal, fueling expectations that sanctions on Russian oil could eventually be eased. Brent crude futures fell by 81 cents, or about 1.3%, to $59.75 a barrel by 12:14 GMT, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate declined 84 cents, nearly 1.5%, to trade at $55.98 a barrel. And that's on the 6th edition, but here's a recap of the major stories. We told you that Aliko Dangote has submitted a petition to the ICPC against NMDPRA boss Ahmed Farouk, accusing him of corruption and financial impropriety. We also told you that the NDVA has threatened the contempt charge against IGP Egbetukun and Force PRO over the plan to enforce the tinted glass permit. And U.S. President Donald Trump has filed a $10 billion lawsuit against BBC over the January 6 documentary editing controversy. We'd like to hear from you. Send us your eyewitness report or anything going on around you today. WhatsApp numbers showing on the screen. Follow us on social media as well. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Thank you for watching. I'm Neo Taigwe, and I'll see you tomorrow.